welcome to Whispering Willows. I'm Tanya, and I'm a psychic medium.
I'm Jamie, and I'm a psychotherapist.
And today we're going to be talking about women's health. So we're going to be talking about all the things that nobody wants to talk about and that the doctors don't even seem to want to talk about.
Yeah. I've talked to a lot of people about this over the years, clients, but also just in my personal life. And, from like teenagers or, preteens, even when they first start their cycle, and then all the way up through menopause, post-menopause, like there's so many things that our hormones affect, and nobody talks about it, and nobody knows. And I feel like, when we don't talk about it, it's like we're secretly in our minds like, I wonder if this is normal. Like, is there something wrong with me? Like, why am I feeling this way? Does anybody else feel this way?
Right.
And so, like, let's just talk about it so that everybody knows they're normal and that it's part of our hormones and our health. And it just sucks that doctors don't educate us more.
Yeah. I mean, even like our moms talking to us and stuff, we don't get everything that we need out of them.
No, because they don't know.
No, they don't know. Yeah. And then I feel like as time goes by, like we get advice from, I remember when I was younger, like in my early 20s, and then I was working with women that are older. Like that's where you meet all of your friends that are older than you, and they're telling me about all the things that I need to start doing now because this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And they were so right about all of those things.
Yeah.
And it's just like you really should take like the advice that they're giving you, because one day like you're going to be in their shoes. Like you don't realize it, at that time.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many things that we're not told about.
Absolutely.
So,
I know I shared on here a couple episodes ago about like that I went through menopause super young. And so, like I went through menopause at 28.
Oh, wow.
And so my body right now is like a 90-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because like so many hormones and things change when we go through menopause because we're not getting the estrogen and all the things. And so like I've had to do a lot of research and like learn a lot and like join different groups.
Yeah.
That like mostly I'm like the youngest person in the group because it is like a group of like older women who are postmenopausal or going through it now in their like 50s or 60s, and I'm like, I've been here for 2 decades now,
Right.
And it's very strange, but our hormones affect our skin, our hair. Like my hair is like, I got my hair cut yesterday, and I asked her, I was like, am I balding? Like, do you see bald patches? And she's like, no, you're fine. She's like, no, I do not see your scalp. You're fine. But, my hair is so much thinner than it used to be. Like, I used to have, like, really long, thick locks.
Right.
And so there's that. And then there's, like, skin differences. And our mood, too. Like, I had a client, like, a couple months ago that was, like, and she's, like, mid-20s or so.
Yeah.
And she's like, I wasn't prepared for, like, all of what like PMS does. Like, she's like, I knew that I would be like grumpy around that time of the month or whatever, like more emotional or sensitive or whatever. But, she wasn't prepared. And I was like, girl, wait till you get to menopause.
Oh yeah. It's,
So yeah. And I am in this group that sends out emails on Sundays. They call it Science Sunday.
Oh.
And it's so informational and informative. It's like they talk about, why we have less energy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm struggling with it. I'm really struggling. I would like to know why.
I'll send you the email.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it all boils down to hormones.
Yeah.
Because your body is pumping less of them than it did before. Yeah. And I think like when we don't understand these things, it's easy to question like, what's wrong with me? Why am I so lazy?
Yes, that's how I feel. Like half the time, like this is really the part that's like hitting me right now. Like I already had like the mood swing thing, and stuff like that. And I feel like my moods are more regulated now than they were. I had night sweats and I did not know what the heck was going on. I thought that I peed the bed, but then I realized that my hair was like curled up because you sweat like from here to like your thighs.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the heck is going on? Like, I didn't know. I was like, oh my gosh, what just happened to me? So like get up in the middle of the night and change the sheets and everything. I'm just like, this is horrible. But that only happened to me like 2 times.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, and that was like last year. And so now I feel like I'm in the zone where like my period will just like show up whenever it feels fit. Like sometimes it's 28 days, sometimes it's 40, sometimes it's 60. You know what I mean? I think the longest it almost went 90 days one time. Yeah. So, but it's like I feel more normal, but I'm tired. Like I feel so drained sometimes. I think it's a lot of my reasoning also for like not wanting to like go to stuff. I'll just be like no, or like I'll be like yeah I do want to, or like I'll commit to something and then all of a sudden like that day I'm just like dude I'm not feeling it, and that's not the person I am. Usually I'll just go like to get through it. I'll just be like I can do it, like I'll get through it, but it's just like the exhaustion that I'm feeling and like I'll just, and it's not like I'm doing anything, you know. So I really think like you need to have some kind of like regular moving your body like to get you going, because I think that helps with that.
I even like this morning I was like I don't feel like recording today.
I know.
But I was like all right, but I know Tanya's like already got things set up probably. I don't want to do that to her. But then also you're like, and I'm going to feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean I think like we definitely don't want to shame ourselves for being lazy or like what's wrong with me, why am I always so tired, like that's because your body's going through it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And like mood swings, like like okay, Tanya picked me up the other day, it was a group of us going out to dinner, and I got into the car and I think I had posted on Facebook or something that I was feeling grumpy. And so somebody mentioned, you know, Jamie's grumpy. And I was like, I think that I, like, PMS, even though, like, I don't get a period anymore, but, like, I feel like still, like, I go through these, like, monthly cycles where, like, I'm just, like, grumpy out of nowhere for, like, no good reason, you know? And so even that is, like...
Yeah, I was like, maybe I need to mark my calendar for things.
She's gonna check my like non-existent
we're
cycle.
gonna see like if this comes around, like you know, because you do like even when my period's supposed to start, like the week before when it's supposed to start, I still get like that even though it like won't start.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, oh my god, I just want to eat like some chocolate, and I don't really like chocolate. Like I'll like dark chocolate, but I'll want like chocolate cake, and you know, and I'll just be like, oh, I need this right now, and that's like one of the things how I know. And then I know that like probably like 8 years ago is when my symptoms kind of started, where I was like more emotional, where I would like watch a commercial and I'm like, oh, so sad. You know, I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is not who I am. Like, I'm not crying at commercials, you know? Or I would just be like, I'm going to bake some brownies and I'm going to cry and eat them. Like, I would be eating brownies and crying. Like, eating them with a spoon. I was like, what is wrong with me? I was married then. And my husband's just like, you need to snap out of this. I was like, something is wrong. So,
there are, like, a lot of really great companies. Well, I can't say a lot. I know of 2. But companies that, like, you know, like I was saying, are very educational. And they also, like, they will give you, like, bioidentical hormones. So, you know, it's not like the synthetic stuff that, you know, comes with its own risks. And, you know, I mean, for years, hormone replacement therapy was fine. And now all of a sudden, you know, they say it causes cancer and all the things. You know, but I feel like, and I'm no doctor, obviously, but I feel like, you know, going the bioidentical route is like, because you're just pumping in more hormones that are the same as the hormones your body pumps naturally. And so it's just like replacing that deficiency, you know, in a healthier, like more natural way.
Yeah, I think definitely I started researching more about, you know, like this condition, because it's a condition. It's like, you know, like you're just not like, I just know, like, in the last year, I've just had a lot of bumps in the road, and I feel like a lot of it is associated with what I'm going through. And, I looked into things, and, like, my brother is a certified personal trainer. My brother's like, you need to do exercises that, like, first you need to do, like, strength training. He goes, but you need to do exercises where you focus on your breathing. He's like, breathing is so important in like regulating your body. And he said like yoga, Pilates, and bars. So then I was going to like pure barre class, well, now I've stopped it because I'm traveling the next few months, and I was like, well, I'll just do it at home. But it's so hard to do it at home. But he's just like, just stick with those. He goes, cardio can even make you gain weight if you start doing cardio during this. He goes, so if you want to do cardio, you need to do some kind of like activity like that daily. He goes, because also like you get into like this depressive state. So like cardio will like pump those good feelings into you. So like you do like 20 to 30 minutes of that a day, and then like do like your strength training or do your Pilates or do yoga. He's like, you don't need to do, don't overdo it.
You don't have to go running.
You don't have to do stuff like that. He's like, go for a walk for 30 minutes and then do your Pilates, and you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, like, even my brother, like, understands, like, what's going on with me, so, it's just really hard, like, for me to just get up and be like, okay, I'm going to do it. I work from home. Like, it's right here. All I got to do is be like, I'm taking a 30-minute break, and I'm going to do Pilates. Like, I have all of the stuff I need, It's just, like, making myself do it. When I had the classes, I made myself get up and go because they were going to charge me $20 if I didn't show up, And I'd already scheduled it, so I was going. And so now I'm trying to, like, once you get out, you got to get back in. I mean, there's so many other things that you can do. I think, like, journaling, because you get, like, stuck in your brain because you do think that you're lazy and you're like, what am I doing? Like, oh, I need to do this and this and this, like,
or like you said, like any changes in your personality, like, why am I like this? What happened to me? We ask ourselves those questions, and it's just our bodies, it's just our hormones.
It's just like that feeling of almost like when you were like a teenager and your hormones were like, you're feeling that kind of feeling again. You're like up and down, and I'm just like, I don't know. Sometimes like I'm not doing so much of the crying so much. I was like anxious, like I told you. I was having like anxiety a lot. Like I was getting super anxious, and I was like stressed because like I had a new job, and and I'm going through all of this stuff, and I had that cancer scare, and then and I was so like anxious to the max, and it was just, I feel like I'm not as anxious now. I feel like I'm going through the stages, like, because I kind of looked up like the stages and stuff of it, and just going by what I read, it just seems like I'm nearing the end, getting closer to like the menopause thing, but this still can go on for like
for sure
a while.
My mom is still struggling with hot flashes.
Really?
Yeah, she's in her 70s.
Oh, it says that you could still like have hot flashes, but like they should like subside at like some point. There are like things that I looked up that you can do. Caffeine.
She doesn't drink caffeine.
She doesn't drink any caffeine.
She tries to avoid it because it does.
Because it does cause, it causes them to be more. So,
And like, but, I know for me growing up, learning like, so at, at certain age you stop getting your period, and that's menopause, and you might get hot flashes. Like, to me, that's all I really knew of menopause. Was like, okay, your period stops, you get hot flashes, and then they stop and you go on. And like, there's so much more to it.
There's so much. Like,
so much.
I didn't know that anxiety was part of it.
Right.
Like, that really threw me.
Yeah.
Like, I knew, like, the emotional stuff, but, like, the anxiety, like, it wasn't, like, oh, this is going to happen to you. Like, you're going to feel, like, super, and I was super anxious, like, having, like, almost, like, little panic attacks, and, it just, I don't know. I was so uncomfortable with it. And, like, but now it's, like, it's mellowed out. I'm, like, feeling more normal, but still, like, the exhaustion is there. And, like, getting the motivation to do what I need to do. Just in every day. Sometimes I just want to sit here and I just, like, I just don't want to do anything. Like, I'm always, like, I tell people, I'm like, I need one day where I don't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to just, like, read my book, I read my book. If I want to, you know, watch TV. Also, I, like, looked up because it said, like, mental stimulation because you forget things. Like, you have memory lapse.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so forgetful.
And, oh, my gosh. I've been, like, in that zone where, like, before I would never forget anything, you know? And now I'm in the, wait, what? Like, what, you know, even, like, last night I was trying to, like, think about what we were going to, our topic was today. And I was just like, I'm so, like, I don't know, like, what, that would be something that I would just remember.
Yeah.
Like, so.
I think I asked you, like, 3 times when I got here, like, wait, what are we talking about today?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it just goes over my head. And I'm like, wait, what are we talking about?
It's like you're not, like, taking it in like you used to. Like, I would, like, absorb everything, and now it's like I have to write everything down. You write it down, like, get organized. You have to, like, organize yourself more. You have to, like read, do puzzles, like, stuff that's going to challenge your brain. Like, you need to do stuff like that to keep your brain sharp. You know, because it just it's making me, like, crazy sometimes with that brain fog. I'm like, oh my gosh,
it's real.
It's real, and it's like, it's hard. It's just like when you've gone from, like, living a certain way, and this is like a life transition, you know, like, we're transitioning in life, and we're just not really sure. And I feel like the doctors just kind of dismiss a lot of stuff.
They totally do.
You know, like,
I was talking to a friend yesterday who has a few children, and she was saying that when she is pregnant, she's, like, the happiest, like, she doesn't have anxiety, she doesn't have depression, she feels physically healthy, you know, I mean, aside from pregnancy, but, like, you know, her body feels good. And then when she's not pregnant, she deals with all these other things.
Really?
Yeah, and so she was trying to have a conversation with her doctor about it, and, like, I think, like, they came to the realization, like, we have to figure out how to make your body think it's pregnant even when it's not, you know, based on, like, hormones and such. But,
interesting.
You know, I mean, I've never been pregnant, but, you know, I know that's a time when, like, women's hormones are all over the place, and you experience a lot of different symptoms that you maybe didn't expect.
They're, like, angry. Like, my daughter is pregnant right now, and, like, don't piss her off. You just try to, like, stay on her good side. Because you don't ever know what's going to come out of her mouth. Like, even when I was up there just visiting a few weeks ago, like, we got into a little bit of a tiff, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I can't believe you're saying this. Like, you know, like, I was like, don't, like, you know, it was just, like, pretty intense. But then, like, I was like, okay, like, she's pregnant, trying to just, like, you know, let her, like, figure it out, you know. And she did. Like, she came to me, and she's like, okay, I'm sorry. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, too. Like, like, I'm premenopausal. No, I'm in perimenopause. There's a difference. So premenopause is before the peri starts. So peri is like, you're in the thick of it. And then post is what I'm looking forward to. Like,
I've been in post for quite a while.
Lucky. So it's just, like, trying to figure out, like, what your body's doing, how to handle it, because it's not easy.
And one of my mom's friends, also in her 70s, she was having some symptoms that I could relate to because, you know, my body thinks it's a lot older than it is. And so I was, like, recommending some of the stuff that I use, the bioidentical ones. And she's like, okay, well, ask my doctor about it. So she did ask her doctor about it, and he was like, no, don't do that. Here, take this. And gave her, like, you know, some prescription. It's the exact same thing.
It's the exact.
And I feel like, you know, if that guy would have taken 10 minutes to research the product that I was recommending, that I use, that I have great results with, like, if he took 10 minutes to research it, you know, it might have been really helpful for her. But instead, now she's got this stupid prescription that, like, I don't know. And then me personally, I know, like, some people will only go to, like, a male. Like, some women will only go to, like, a male gynecologist. My mom prefers males.
Oh, really?
And to me, I will only go to a female. Because I feel, and, you know, we know how I feel about men sometimes. They're not, I get angry with men. But, you know, I'm not going to go to a man and have some man tell me what's going on with my vagina that he doesn't have.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel...
I prefer a woman. Just because, like, she understands where I am,
yeah.
you know, in life and what I'm going through. And honestly, I prefer, like, an older.
Me too.
You know, just because, like, she's already been through this. She knows what's happening.
Yep.
You know, she understands, you know, our bodies. So to me, it just makes sense. You know, because they're not, like, the men, like, yeah, they go to school for it, but they're not having the feelings. They're not seeing what's happening because it's not happening to them.
Yeah.
So, to me, I feel like experience, like, really trumps, like, anything.
What you learn in a textbook in medical school.
It's true. For sure. For sure.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is, like, do your research. Advocate for yourself. You know, if you feel like your doctor isn't listening to you, go to a different doctor.
Yeah, you should definitely try your doctor. I mean, we're not saying, like, all doctors are this way. Like, I had a really good doctor when I was in Georgia and Atlanta, and I loved her for, like, everything. Like, she was my primary, but also she was like, hey, like, you can come to me for gyno, too. I do that also. And I was like, oh, my gosh. So, like, I switched to her.
Yeah.
Everything was great. She listened to me, but that was over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, then I moved to another state, and trying to find a new doctor is so hard. It is so hard. And, you know, now I've gone through 2 states and still haven't found a doctor as amazing as her.
Yeah.
So it's just like, go to your doctor. If they're not giving you the answers that you think are correct, or they're like, nothing's improving, like, go to another doctor.
And especially if you walk away feeling like your issues have been dismissed.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, you haven't been validated, or you feel like they're really not understanding, or like wanting to understand.
Right.
You know, like that's not a good feeling. And like, this is your health. This is your body. You know, like we have to advocate for ourselves. And if that's not working, we're going to find somebody else who will listen and will not dismiss us.
Yes. And I just think that also we have a lot of work to do on ourselves, like the self-care and stuff like that. Like I said, like read. Like, don't just sit and mindlessly watch television and, like, read. That's activating your brain and it's making your brain work. Do puzzles.
Move your body.
Move your body. Get a hobby. Like, you know, something that you have to, like, think and work on. I really think, like, doing this podcast, like, helps me because it makes me focus on something else. And it's not just work. And then, like, oh, Tanya, you have to do this. And, like, I set all these deadlines, you know, for myself because, like, you know, I have you and, like, we're a partner. And, like, I have to make sure that this is, like, this part is done, you know, for me. And then you do your part. And we kind of come together. And, you know, it gives me something to work on, you know, other than, you know, just, like, watching television,
right?
You know, so, and I'm trying to like read more and journaling, and oh my gosh, I love journals, but I've been so bad at journaling lately.
Really?
I've just been really lazy about it and not doing it. I need to go to more yoga events. I enjoy yoga, but yeah, like move your body, like at least go for a walk. You know, when the weather's nice before it gets winter. I don't know where everyone is at, but I mean, it was 82 here yesterday.
It was a little extreme for October.
Yeah, I went to the beach and it was like, I mean, it was fun, but it's just, you know, get your body moving. Like, find something that you like to do, like pickleball. I want to go play pickleball.
Yeah,
we really need to do that. Yeah.
Also, like, you know, in terms of like weight gain, you know, your body, like, I had another client the other day that was like, yeah, I don't understand, like, why I can't lose this weight. Like, I used to be so thin, and I used to be able to lose weight whenever I, you know, wanted to. I could just, like, lose just like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, we don't have the same bodies we had when we were 16, 18, 20 years old. You know, and the older we get, because of our hormones, it does become a lot harder to lose.
Oh, for sure.
The stubborn, especially, like, stubborn belly fat, you know?
Oh, it's so bad. Like, it just is so, like, frustrating because, like, you feel like you'll take, like, 2 steps forward and then, like, 4 steps back. And you're like, oh, my God, what the heck happened?
Yeah, like, it'll take you, like, 2 weeks to lose 5 pounds, and then you can gain it back in a weekend.
Yeah, there's, like, no cheating, like, at this point. It's, like, you're either in it or you're not.
Yeah.
Like, and if you're just gonna, like, eat whatever and, you know, you're just gonna have to understand, like, this is gonna happen. You know, like, nutrition is, like, a big part of it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I try, like, I really try, and then, like, when I get in those moods where I'm like, I need a chocolate cake, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's like that 1 week out of the month, okay? Like, I just need to eat chocolate cake, and I'll be fine, like, the rest of the time. I mean, we're really only normal probably like 2 weeks out of the month. If
Yeah.
you think about it, like
Yeah.
we're not like
Normal.
fully like normal. I mean, it is normal,
Yeah.
but it's like it doesn't feel like we're ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, so like we have like two weeks out of the month where we're like ourselves, you know, and then it's like it starts all over again, you know, constantly.
Yeah.
Forever changing.
Yeah. It's tough. It can be tough.
Yeah, it's definitely.
But I think understanding it and like normalizing talking about it and like, you know, having conversations with your girlfriends or with your moms or your sisters or whomever, like talk about it so that you don't feel so alone in what you're experiencing in your body. And you know,
I feel like our group of friends, we talk about it a lot because I think we're all kind of in the same, you know, we're all going through the same things. So or one of us has been through it already, or the next one, like, oh, it's your turn, you're up, you're doing this, you know. So
I remember when I first started like sharing with you guys about like my like early menopause experience and everything. I remember like questioning afterwards, like, did I overshare? Like, did I share too much? Was that like, you know, was that like a weird thing for me to share? But, you know, I'm so all about like normalizing these conversations. And, you know, I always tell clients like in therapy, there's like no such thing as TMI. You know, because in therapy you talk about everything. And so sometimes in my personal life, I feel like I forget like what's appropriate and like what's like TMI in a friend situation.
Yeah.
And so, but again, I'm just big about talking about these things.
Well, I think that in our group of friends, because we are kind of like a tight-knit group, and we just do talk about those things. And I think that, you know, in our group, everyone's just like, oh, well, you know, like, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Like, every time, anything that we talk about, it's no big deal because someone in our group has gone through it.
Exactly.
You know? So it's like we're getting, like, firsthand, you know, talk back, you know, letting us know, like, this is what you should expect because this is what happened to me. The other thing is, like, not everything that's happened to you is going to happen to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm prepared. I'm ready because like everyone in our group is
to like expect some kind of changes.
Yeah,
like,
I was like, things are gonna happen.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not just flashbacks and stop getting your cycle. Like there's so much more to it, and at least you're like, okay, like there's gonna be changes.
Yeah.
Well, and next week we're gonna be talking about boundaries.
We're gonna be talking. The holidays are coming, you guys. Boys. So you know we're gonna talk about boundaries and that it's okay to say no to things. Like you don't have to do everything. Set some boundaries.
Yes.
So that's what we'll be talking about next week.
Yes.
So
to wrap up the hormones, give yourself permission to set those boundaries. Like take care of your body and you know. Find a different doctor if your needs aren't being met and do what feels right for you.
Yep. So don't forget to like and subscribe and we will see you next week. Bye.